Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna open the public hearing, and Matt is going to explain a short presentation for Mr. Spunk on purpose of hearing and background and pertinent information.
Okay, sorry for looking down for those of you enjoying the top of my head. This public hearing is intended to solicit input for the proposed Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, application to the Virginia Department of Housing and Community Development for the COVID-19 Small Business Recovery Assistance. A fact sheet on the proposed project and the draft applications is available at the town hall and tomorrow on the town's website at www.onancock.com. Comments and grievances can be submitted in writing at 15 North Street, Onancock, Virginia 23417, or by phone at 757-787-3363. The Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG program, has long been used by partners across the Commonwealth to create vibrant, competitive communities of choice. These are places that create, grow, attract, and retain businesses. Now, as these businesses adjust to the new market realities and reinvest in their enterprises, local governments can access CDBG Small Business Recovery Assistance resources to support them. Through the Small Business Recovery Assistance Program, localities will help businesses meet their long-term business goals by adjusting to the COVID-19 demands, establishing safe and clean reopening procedures in accordance with the governor's guidance is necessary for the safety of customers and employees. It will allow businesses to get back up and running, ideally helping them retain existing staff, fill vacant positions, create new jobs, and become more efficient and resilient. These local governments can create implementation partnerships, and Onancock is pleased to mention the first formal memorandum of understanding with Onancock Main Street Initiative, who's going to help support the administration of any grant that may surface as a result of this application to CDBG. The business eligibility criteria for any business that would be considered as through this criterion are that they need to be locally owned, they need to have 20 or fewer employees, they have to have been impacted by COVID-19, they cannot receive duplication of benefits from other CARES Act funding, and they have to provide local or regional services. Some of those emphasized would be tourism-related businesses, accommodations, i.e. hotels and motels, restaurants, food service, and professional services like legal, design, or real estate, cultural and educational services, the arts, recreation, retail, nonprofit and social services, practitioners, and personal care. The one thing I want to share is that while nonprofit organizations do qualify, churches do not qualify for this grant. One exciting thing, though, is that home-based businesses can receive support for this program up to 25% of the costs I'm about to discuss. CDBG funds can assist businesses that have received previous CARES funding. The business, the grantee, and DHCD will ensure that no duplication of benefits occurs when a grantee has already received funding from CARES Act funding. An example might be if PPP was used to pay for payroll expenses, CDBG funds can still be used to cover rent and mortgage. So some of the grant details are that the maximum benefit to any individual business is $15,000. That's broken up into two components, up to $5,000 for retooling and technology activities. Retooling might be space and technology upgrades to reopen and conduct business safely, including furniture, barriers, and technologies such as laptops, software, and touch-free credit card payment systems. Can include sanitation, and includes job training for any class or technical assistance, such as protecting employees from COVID-19 or protecting customers from COVID-19. So that's available up to $5,000 for retooling and technical activities. Another amount of up to $10,000 is available in rent and mortgage relief for up to 6 months of rent or mortgage. Again, it's very important that if you received other CARES funding, that it not duplicate the benefit. So you can receive up to 6 months of rent or mortgage, but it can't be for the same 6 months that you've paid for with other CARES Act money, such as PPP or Rebuild Virginia or the local CARES budget or grants that you've received. Two things as a heads up for those people who may consider applying. And the application we are expecting to have publicly available by December 15th or so. We have a final contract negotiation with CDBG by December 4th, this Friday. The final information from them will be back in place to us by December 11th. And then we would expect to have an application ready for businesses to apply by December 15th. Two things that a business can do ahead of December 15th that might expedite your application is every business is going to require a DUNS number, and every business is going to require a certificate of good standing from the state's Corporation Commission. Those two things you can get in advance, and it just might help facilitate the application.
Can I ask a question?
Let me get through one more thing quickly, and then
Okay.
I will open for questions.
All right.
The letter of intent that we sent to CDBG for the town to be considered is going to be available to the public, again, either on our website tomorrow morning or at the front desk at Town Hall. And also the application itself to DHCD from the town of Onancock is also available. So those two things are going to be available to any applicant, as well as a description of the program that I just referenced. So that is the end of my short presentation.
May I ask now?
Yes.
What is a DUNS number?
A DUNS number is through an organization called Duns and Bradstreet. It's basically an older way to identify a business through that group called Duns and Bradstreet. So it's a way to identify the business. The combination of that DUNS number and the certificate of good standing is going to make sure that we are referencing and the applicant is applying only under one name, and that that business is in good standing with the Virginia State Corporation.
And is that good standing about taxes?
I believe that you have to have your taxes filed with the state in order to receive a certificate of good standing. But again,
Okay.
the criterion to receive that certificate of good standing is available at the SCC portal. So when a business goes in to apply for that certificate, all of the criterion that are going to be accessed are available there.
Yeah,
Thank
Matt, let me add, I believe that the SEC certificate of good standing actually means that the entity is appropriately formed under the state of Virginia, and they have paid their filing fees, and they're still an entity.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. So at this
Okay.
point, Mr. Mayor, if we could take attendance from any person attending so that we can get our virtual sign-in sheet. Obviously, I have council members.
We have, well, you can look on them. We got Carol Tunstall, I see. You got Janet Foskey, John Figgy, and then Brenda, is that Brenda Smith? Can you unmute Brenda? Oh, who's Brenda?
Just to unmute herself.
That's all.
Yes, it's Brenda Smith.
Yeah, okay, all right.
So I've got
And
Brenda
Carol
Smith.
Vaughn.
I got
Carol
Carol.
Vaughn is attending.
Carol Vaughn.
I got, yeah, Carol Vaughn. Yeah, and that's, I guess that's it.
So is it, I've got John Figge, Brenda Smith, Carol Tunstall, Carol Vaughn. Is there anybody else on the line?
Janet Foskey, did you get her?
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know my tablet was muted. Thelma Gillespie.
No, we've already got you, Thelma. You're a council member.
hi
Okay.
Thelma,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna mark that you're present as of 5:35.
Okay.
Yeah, we muted you, Thelma. There was a lot of background noise coming from your thing, so we're gonna, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
That's why I had done, yeah. Well, you can talk anytime, just unmute, yeah. Just mute yourself and then when you want to talk, unmute.
Okay.
All right, okay, so you got attendance, Matt? We all set with that?
I do, thank you very much.
Okay, so what the next step is an individual, do we have any public comment? I guess we haven't asked for public comment. We have 4 members of the public. Anybody want to make a comment? If you can't unmute for some reason, I guess you could chat us too. If anybody knows how to do that. All right, there being no public comment, I'm going to close the public hearing.
And it's closed as of 5:42. Okay, at this point, the agenda calls for council member comments.
Do we have anybody that wants to comment?
No comment.
All right, anybody? Okay. All right, so you want to go through these motions then?
Yeah, I'm glad to. Part of the application says that once town council has approved the making of the application, which we did in a previous meeting, now there are motions that we need to adopt to ensure that the town is operating in a way that aligns with CDBG principles. The first is going to be a motion to adopt the resolution regarding the town's CDBG application for the COVID-19 Small Business Recovery Grant. The contents of this are fairly simple. It says that the council has not only been advised of, but has supported the application. It understands that the application was made to the Virginia DHCD for the Community Development Block Grant in the amount of $495,000 for the 2020 Virginia CDBG grant for COVID-19 small business recovery assistance. It also talks through some of this authorized signature for any contracts or supporting documents. So I'm going to need a motion, and then I'll do a roll call for the resolution.
Do we have a motion for that? Oh, somebody's got to make a motion or we're not going anywhere.
I so
So
moved.
moved.
Okay, Thelma made the motion.
All right, Ms. Oswald seconded.
Okay. You're going to roll call?
Yeah, I was just looking for discussion.
Oh, discussion? I'm sorry, yeah. Okay. We're going to have a roll call vote.
Yeah. Councilmember Bloxham,
Aye.
Councilmember Marino,
Aye.
Councilmember Berger,
Aye.
Councilmember Oswald,
Aye.
Councilmember Gillespie.
Aye.
Thank you. The next motion is to adopt the business and employment plan. Again, these next few are policies required by CDBG. In many instances, we have policies that are very similar. An example might be our non-discrimination policy. We already have a non-discrimination policy, but there's specific verbiage that the governor requires that we didn't have in ours. So while it's very, very close, my recommendation is that we adopt these policies as they were presented to you. So the first one is the motion to adopt the business and employment plan.
I move that we adopt the business and employment plan as required by CDBG.
Second,
I'll
Second.
All right,
Uh,
Mr.
Joy.
Berger,
well, either one. Discussion? Okay, roll call, Matt?
Councilmember Bloxham,
Aye.
Councilmember Marino,
Aye.
Councilmember Berger,
Aye.
Councilmember Oswald,
Aye.
Councilmember Gillespie.
Aye.
All right, the next is the motion to adopt the non-discrimination policy.
Do we have a motion to adopt that?
I move we adopt the non-discrimination policy as required by CDBG.
Thank you. Second?
I second.
And Ms. Gillespie,
Yeah,
any discussion?
a discussion?
Councilmember Bloxham,
Aye.
Councilmember Marino,
Aye.
Councilmember Berger,
Aye.
Councilmember Oswald,
Aye.
Councilmember Gillespie.
Aye.
Next is the motion to adopt the Section 504 grievance procedure.
I move that we accept adopt the Section 504 grievance procedure as
Second.
required by CDBG.
Second.
Ray seconded.
Yep, got it.
Discussion? Does anybody even know what that is? But it doesn't make any difference, I guess. I don't know.
Internal
Section
grievance
504 relates to how we manage handicapped persons and how we would manage if any person presented a grievance regarding our policy or access for handicapped persons.
Oh, okay, it's handicap, all right. Roll call vote then?
Councilmember Bloxham,
Aye.
Councilmember Marino,
Aye.
Councilmember Berger,
Aye.
Councilmember Oswald,
Aye.
Councilmember Gillespie.
Aye.
Next is to adopt a handicap regulation, which is very, very similar to the Section 504 grievance. This is the handicap regulation. The Section 504 grievance is a grievance on that regulation.
Motion to accept that?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All right, roll call.
Councilmember Bloxham,
Aye.
Councilmember Marino,
Aye.
Councilmember Berger,
Aye.
Councilmember Oswald,
Aye.
Councilmember Gillespie.
Aye.
All right, and the last is a motion to adopt fair housing certification. If you keep in mind, CDBG is predominantly interested in, and their core function is regarded to low and moderate income residents. This is a fair housing certification that all grants are required to have in place in order to receive funds from CDBG.
I move that we adopt the fair housing certification as required by CDBG.
Second?
I second.
You,
Discussion? Roll call?
Councilmember Bloxham,
Aye.
Councilmember Marino,
Aye.
Krause's absent. Councilmember Berger,
Aye.
Councilmember Oswald,
Aye.
Councilmember Gillespie.
Aye.
Thank you.
That's it, right?
Now that you've seen, yes, that's it. Now that you've seen and adopted each of those motions, you should know that this Friday, there are going to be 3 public advertisements placed just as public notice that emulate very closely the adopted, certain of the adopted policies you just put in place. They have a requirement to publish a notice for the employment practices, publish a notice for the fair housing, and publish a notice for the small women and minority-owned business opportunities presented by this grant. The ads are going to read that while we do not intend for any employment or contractor opportunities to be generated by this grant, if there are any generated, what policies and practices we are going to follow. So you're going to read that in the paper this coming week. On December 4th, that's the date that all final information is due to CDBG for their pre-contract evaluation. They have, they're going to get back to us by Wednesday as far as their evaluation of it, if there's anything left to remain, anything remaining to be done. And then we'll have a couple of days to get that done for completed contract by the 11th. They're expecting to sign it on the 11th. And then once that happens, our project management team kicks in, and that's when we begin to advertise the opportunity made available by this application. We're going to cast a very wide net. Any business that's licensed in the town of Anancock, we're going to strongly encourage to apply. We're trying to service at least 30 businesses, but because our housing cost here in Anancock for retail space is a little bit lower, we can obviously support more than 30. So we're going to do all we know how to do to let this be known to any business, whether it's operated in a home or operated with sticks and mortar, that's inside the town limits of Anancock. We want everybody and anybody to take advantage of this. This is what I would consider free money. All they have to do is go through the application, and I'm probably going to have workshops to go through how to successfully complete the application so that people don't stumble through it. We can give all the support we can give to make sure that people know exactly what's being asked of them, how they can most effectively complete it, all the documentation that's going to be required. We really want to help people get this money. That's my goal. We've got $450,000 to distribute. I want to distribute every single nickel. Cool.
Okay, any other comments? All righty.
Just a question. Mavis here.
Yeah.
Matt, how will you conduct the work session or the training?
Yeah, I'm probably going to end up doing that virtually, but I know some folks are going to be technologically limited by that. So I might try to host them in town council chambers as long as we're physically distanced and masks are required at all times. I really want to make it as user-friendly an experience as possible. Plus, we have, once the contract is signed, and we're expecting that to take place on December 11th, we'll have 1 year to distribute these monies. So nobody should feel like there's, a 30-day limit or they have to race to get this done. What we're going to do is we're going to get the applications out there, but then we have a year to do it. So make sure that they've got all of the information that they're going to need, that their application is perfectly complete. That's when we can make a distribution, and we will not make a distribution prior to having all the documentation complete. These funds are generated from HUD. HUD gives them down to DHCD. DHCD puts it through a CDBG grant. That grant then would come to the town of Anancock. HUD will do compliance checks to make sure that any person who received federal funds complied with all of the requirements. So we're going to walk with people through the process to make sure that if and when there's a compliance review, that we don't have any issues. We've got all the documentation, we've stored it properly, we've communicated it properly, everything's going to be fine. But it's a little bit of a sticky process, but we're going to make sure everybody gets through it easily as possible.
Another question, all the information that you sent us to read, is that public? Can we send that to businesses?
That's what's going to be made available at the town hall and also on the website in the morning. So everything that you received via email is exactly what's being posted and what's being made available. Then on the 15th, that's when the application is going to be available. So all of the information we're going to make available now just basically describes the project, describes the dollar amount of each possible grant. And then when the application comes out, that's where the specific information about what information you need to provide in order to qualify. All of that's going to be made available. So over the next 2 weeks, we're going to share the foundation of it, and then we're going to share the specifics of the grant.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Are we, all right. Okay, all right, well, we'll see everybody back here at our regular council meeting at the,
You have to adjourn, and it's
Yeah.
5:56.
yeah.
We need
I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Well, thank you. That went fairly smoothly. Yeah,
Thank you. Appreciate everybody.
appreciate everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.